This is the Thundersport GB Championship 2016, and you're joining us here at Cadwell Park for the final round.
Welcome to Cadwell Park then. A bit of a miserable day, as you can see, to wake up to as Sara and Kirsty take cover under the umbrella ahead of the final round of the championship. The Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersport and Steelsport Championship that was already wrapped up by this man who sports the number one, Chris Helliwell, the champion. Scanlon here. Andy Scanlon, well, there's still a bit of messing about going on for second and third in the championship that could be decided here today, but the rain absolutely pouring down. In the Steel Sports, well, that's been decided. It was decided yesterday, and a big congratulations to number 35, Mark Biswell, on the Bizzle Bike Sport Honda, one of the best turned out bikes that we've seen in the paddock. You can't miss him there. Number 35, he has been crowned champion of the steel frames, or the steel sports, however you want to look at it. And a big well done to him. On board here with Carl Vickers, one of our Royal Marine riders, and he's gone for a swim already early doors here. A big crash over at turn one. It was looking like it was a bit too tight through there. The bikes make their way through, but a crash already then to start this race off. Carl Vickers there involved. I believe that Richie Harrison also involved, as well as Nick Wainwright. That could be rather big, you know. Nick Wainwright was second in the championship coming into this weekend. So real shame for those guys. Hopefully all of them up and okay. You just saw there a couple of former Thundersport champions going through. There is number 87, Carl Vickers, who we were on board with, who went down. He's waving already. Seems quite happy with himself, really, considering. I'm not surprised. He's probably looking around at the weather at the moment thinking, well, you know what, I don't want to be out there anyway. Yeah, I mentioned those other former Thundersport riders that we've seen as champions before out there. Rob Morby and Brad Davey. They're having a bit of fun out in the wet. So here is Andy Scanlon. He leads, number 24, Chris Helliwell. Then it's number 55. That's Adam Darnell. He's up ahead of Cooper. Number 16 is Luke McRae. Number 36 is Mark Foster. Mark Foster, of course, brother to Carl Foster, last year's Supersport Golden Era champion. There he is, number 36, up ahead of 35, then the steel frame champion and steel frame leader of this race. Behind him is number 21, that's Andy Lee, who's obviously out there on a Yamaha R6. So Biswell, despite taking the championship, already in control of the steel frame proceedings here. There are your two leaders, Scanlon and Helliwell, in this awful, awful weather. Ryan Cooper dangerously close to pit wall there as they come across the line. There goes number 16, Luke McRae, on his Suzuki. Then it's Foster. Nice to see a Suzuki up there, actually, I have to say, because in all honesty, this season in Golden Era Supersport, as we see the lack of adhesion flags being held out at turn one, Yamahas have been absolutely dominant all season long. There have been riders out there on other types of machinery, but we've rarely seen them up on the podium. But number 16, Luke McRae, doing a good job. Here is the champion then of the steel frame, Bizzle Bike Sport. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, Mark Biswell. He's just lost the place there to 21, Andy Lee, as they tip into Park Corner. He won't mind that too much, of course, because he's still leading in the steel frame competition. And ex-Street Fighter rider Biswell finally getting his name on a champion's trophy. Here's Andy Scanlon then. It's not really been a tale of glory for Andy Scanlon all the way through 2016. He's had some tough moments, but he'll want to try and finish in the top three of this championship overall. There is 55 then, Adam Darnell from Ringwood on that Sparklight racing machine. So he's got a bit of a flappy rear seat unit there on that machine. Of course, he is teammate to the champion of the Golden Era Supersport class, Chris Helliwell. This is the man that leads overall in the race, Scanlon. A good solid 25 points for him if he can keep it up right there. And of course a nice scalp to take as well when you know that you've beaten this man here, Chris Helliwell, who has been so difficult to beat throughout 2016. There is then the Suzuki of Luke McRae. He's trying to get himself onto the podium. Across the line to tick off another lap is Scanlon, and look at the water he's having to clear there. It really is treacherous at Cadwell Park. I've seen a lot of rain here before. Not sure if I've seen as much as this. Certainly not in the last 4 or 5 years. This is your race leader then, Scanlon, tipping into Park Corner. Just winding on the power nice and gently. That Yamaha R6 up ahead of the champion, number 1, Chris Helliwell. Unstoppable force at 2016. Chris Helliwell, first champion of the year. There is number 16, Luke McRae, who... oh, Matt, that's the leader gone down. Into the gooseneck, a high side for Andy Scanlon. The leader's gone down, and I bet he cannot believe his luck. He can't there. Good job that he's up and he's walking away. So often riders that crash there end up rather hurt. The bike's now being dealt with, yellow flags being waved. Chris Helliwell's already gone through and inherited the race lead. But that could be costly in terms of the top 3 in the championship for Andy Scanlon. He was leading this race by quite a comfortable margin as well. Chris Helliwell then with that just has a good look over his shoulder to see what's going on. There's no point doing anything silly, and his feet there just slipping off the pegs as he goes through the mountain. Got Sid here with me in the commentary box. We'll have a word with him in a moment once he's finished fiddling around in here. He's got paperwork everywhere. He can't find his headset. Here he is. Sid's here with us in the commentary box now. Such a shame there for Andy Scanlon going down to the gooseneck.
Nightmare for the lad. I mean, he was doing so well, wasn't he? But you know, it often happens when you know, you sort of get ahead of yourself and you think you've got oodles and oodles of grip, and then bingo, you just dump it. Like, you know, unbelievable. So sad for Andy. I hope he puts that bike together nicely, because I need that for the NEC. You're going to display that.
I don't think you want to display it in its current format. It doesn't look too pretty after a big crash at the gooseneck. Of course, he'll be thinking at the moment of getting it right, ready for race 2 coming up later. There's John Wright, number 114, one of the steel frame riders out there on that old CBR 600. Here is your race leader, your champion for 2016. We're running out of positive things to say about Chris Helliwell so far in this season. Now, this is the battle then for second place between Adam Darnell, Luke McRae and Ryan Cooper. Further back, this is Mark Biswell. He's still embroiled in a battle with Andy Lee on that Yamaha. Leads the steel frame competition, champion crown yesterday.
Done so well as Mark, unbelievably well. On a bike that he paid £400 for off eBay, can you believe it?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And it's just one of the nicest, sweetest looking bikes. Put so much time into it, but time and effort is what it's all about. And there's been some lovely machinery in this class for this year, in the Supersport and Steelsport, the Sparklight Racing Golden Era. Unbelievable. It's been really, really sweet. Chris here, of course, is going to defend his title now. He's told me he's going to defend the title with Sparklight again. He said it's the best team he's ever been with. I think it's just because Gary Coombs there, he's just good at repairing crashed bikes.
Well, Chris Helliwell hasn't thrown it at the scenery that much this year, let's be honest. He's done very, very well. You have to stay on upright in order.
No, he has done
to,
well.
I mean, he might have the nickname Skid Marks,
yeah.
But anyway, good job done by Chris Helliwell this year. Nice to see that he'll be trying to defend the crown next year. Here is that £400 motorcycle that you were talking about. I mean, it really is an eyeful.
And he's gonna race that later in the Golden Era Superbike. He's decided as a second class. I think that's because of these conditions. He's decided he might be able to win that.
Well, you never know. You never know. High rate of attrition this weekend so far. So a few riders not lining up on the grid in that Golden Era Superbike class later on. Here is Adam Darnell, who's lost out on that second place.
He's re-signed for Sparklight again for next year. He liked. He came into that. I think it was at Donington. He first, Anglesey actually. He first raced with Sparklight. Really liked the way that Gary does all the things. You know, this bike hire kind of scheme that Gary Coombs runs there at Sparklight seems to be doing really well, and people like it. Just turn up. It's like being on a factory machine, really.
Yeah, there he is. Number 55, although he's going to have to do something about that rear seat unit. It's flapping around all over the place. Gary, get on the case as they tip into the chicane. That is the battle for second place. Helliwell just trying to find his way through some of the tail enders here. Just slowly making his way past these guys, trying not to interrupt their race as well. So this is the battle for second, and now Luke McRae is up to second. I was saying at the start of this race, Sid, unusual in the context of this year to see a Suzuki on the podium.
It is indeed, yeah. R6 being the weapon of choice, of course. That was a big game changer when that...
Oh! Adam Darnell, well, there's a bit more work to do there for Gary Coombs then as he high sides out of the last corner. The weather absolutely awful. The last lap flag is out. Chris Helliwell leads, but his teammate is out of the race.
Sid's commentary strikes again. Dear me. Oh, poor Adam. But, yeah, so as we were saying, so it is, yes, very nice to show that, that a Suzuki can do it. But maybe it is the conditions. I mean, certainly, you know as well as I do, Steve, these R6s, they're very hard to beat in the dry, aren't they?
Yeah, they're great. They're a great bike. I have to say that, I mean, considering this is a golden era class, the R6 still, to me anyway, doesn't actually look particularly retro.
You still think you're young, don't you? See, the fact that you used to race in anger in its day, one of these, must make you feel quite old, Steve. Oh,
let's not go there.
Welcome to my world, son. Welcome to my world.
Well, at least we're racing in colour. That's all I can say. Unlike Sid's day. This is Mark Biswell. We're on board with still tipping down with rain. He's still battling with Andy Lee, and there he goes past him as they now approach the gooseneck. So he's having some fun in the closing stages of this one. Oh, Sid, I mean, at what point do you actually suddenly say to yourself, do you know what, I'm not going to go out? Because, I mean, of course, Dave is up in control of things upstairs. He's making sure that there isn't too much standing water.
Of course.
We're not a million miles away, are we?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he'll monitor this all the time. And he's constantly got radio reports in from marshals all around the circuit. And there we have another fantastic win for Skid Marks Helliwell.
Good stuff there then from Helliwell. He takes another win to add to his growing tally for this 2016 season. He wins the race from the Suzuki of Luke McRae. Ryan Cooper finishes third. Mark Foster returns to fourth. Mark Biswell, the steel frame champion, takes fifth ahead of John Wright. Top three overall then, you see Helliwell, McRae and Cooper, and in the steel frame, Biswell, the race winner from John Wright and Brad Davies.
Ryan, well, you enjoyed that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was just treacherous everywhere though. Puddles, down start, finish straight, park. Oh, it was just horrendous to be honest, but good fun. Enjoyed every minute.
Did you? That's brilliant. And have you got anybody to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody on my shirt, Race HQ, Graham at Continental Tyres, iFibre, and everybody, all my family's come out, so that ain't rain today. It all means the world. And I'd like to say a massive congratulations to Chris as well on this year's championship. He's rode absolutely phenomenal all season. Just brought the class on leaps and bounds. So congratulations to him.
Luke, fantastic effort, and obviously you like wet conditions.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Start of the year we were at Donington and I got a second there in the wet. A lot of standing water today. Just like to thank Mum, Dad, girlfriend and MSG Racing for the backing for this year, and hopefully next year see what happens.
Excellent, well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Chris, we'll say it again, shall we? 2016 champion, and you've gone out there and still proved, no matter what the weather, you brought it home in first.
Yeah, Andy went off, to be fair, first, like a rocking horse, and now we're like, whoa, he's gone, and I thought, good luck, mate, I thought, and then bless him, he's crashed, and I know he needed points as well, but he gave it a good go. I think he wanted to beat me. I wasn't going to let him have that. That was scary, down the straight and stuff, it was so bad. I aquaplaned into turn one, and I actually was about an inch, or a mil, should I say, from being on the grass at turn one, because it just aquaplaned all the way down. So it was all right, then I just set my own little pace, and people can say, and they're all moaning at me, and you got to make it flow, and in some areas it's okay, and just make it flow, what you're comfortable at, and that's all I was doing, little lap times, and then just chilled, watching pitboard, and yeah, I do enjoy the wet, but it's quite wet out there today, I'll be honest with you, but I'm hoping it just stops raining, and then it's a bit better for afternoon for everybody.
Well, I will say, some people in your position wouldn't have bothered to go out, say, look, what have I got to prove, etc., etc. I won the championship, before, and why go out there? So I think great credit to you that you went out there and still show them who's boss.
I want to race, and I'm afraid I want to win. Everybody comes here and they don't say it from back to front. We all want to race and we enjoy it. And I'm one of them people who want to win, and I don't want to not turn up and just entertain people who's come to watch me and stuff. I'm just hoping it just dies down now. If it's wet in the afternoon, it's wet in the afternoon. But at least we lose them puddles, and it'll make it for much better racing.
Well, if you get on the blower of God and get that sorted out, I'll be very appreciative. Meantime, anybody to thank?
Yeah, just everybody on the vest this year. Thank you very much, and everybody on the back. And massive thanks to 64 Club and everything that's set me off, and everybody, all my sponsors and stuff. Couldn't have done it without this year, and I'm actually over the moon. I'm looking forward to getting drunk in January.
Good lad. See you in the next race.
See you later.
Mark, many, many congratulations. 2016 champion. You've had an awesome year. You won the best turned out bike. You're very meticulous the way your bike is turned out. We've done a feature with your bike, and I have to say it always looks brilliant. You spend so much time on it. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah. To get the championship yesterday was superb. Just more than anything, to thank everybody that's helped me along the way. When I set out to do this 2 and a bit years ago, I bought a 400 quid bike off of eBay that I was going to put on the road, and I thought one track day, that was enough. I decided I was going to come racing, and it started from there. But yeah, there's a lot of time and effort gone into it, but also from the people helping out with everything they've done. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I've never won anything before, so it's so nice to do that. It's great.
Well, you thoroughly deserve it, and so you better put some names to those people that you want to thank.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody has been such a huge help. Joe at Kappa Consult, the man's a legend, absolute legend, for all the help he's given. The Hager family, there every weekend. They're stood there now, soaked through to the skin, but still with big smiles on their face. Troy at VES, without him I'd have nowhere to build my bikes and be completely OTT about how tidy they are. Enterprise for sorting the van out for us for the weekends. Looking on the van, on the bike. Coffee to Go. Claire's been helping throughout the year. ANC Soda Blasting, he's helped no end trying to get the bike tidy. With what he does, it means I can paint it and make it look pretty. Chris at A41 Autos, continued support all the time. And everybody that's come along, Paul from work, everybody is just, it's a big thank you to all of them for all their help.
Well done, and many congratulations once again.
Thanks, Sid, and thank you to Thundersport as well. It's such a great club, real friendly atmosphere.
That's the end of race 1. We'll be back in a moment. Hopefully it dries for race 2. Here we are then, ready for race 2 for the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersport. The rain has stopped. The circuit's a bit patchy, wet in places, dry in others. But one thing is for sure, Chris Helliwell is the champion of the Golden Era Supersport class and looking for another win to top his season off. There you see just on the grid, getting himself ready, is Carl Foster, the champion of a couple of years ago, number 8. Nice to see him back out. Well turned out machine that is. He's got the dry tyres on, as has Chris Helliwell as well. So it looks as though most of the rain has gone. A few damp patches though, they will have to be careful. Away they go from the line. You can see there Andy Scanlon has made it back onto the grid again after his crash from earlier. He was okay, he's not injured. On board with the champion now, Chris Helliwell, as we tip left and then tip right around Charlie's in. Then Charlie's out, slightly off camber here, a bit of a crest, then it goes into a bit of a bowl before making away onto the back straight here at Cadwell. Chris Helliwell in the early stages then got a bit of work to do in this Golden Era Supersport race, and of course he'll have 1 or 2 riders around him that will want to finish this season off with a bang, not least the former champion who's had his title ripped away from him by Chris Helliwell. Although we should just point out that Carl Foster hasn't been present at all of the rounds so far this year, as the rest of the field make their way through. Number 3 there, Adrian Bridges from Solihull, another of the Sparklight Racing riders. Ryan Cooper fancies a look up the inside there as they drop down the hill into Mansfield. He saw there Rob Morby up ahead of number 48, Richard Harrison. There is Mark Biswell, who was crowned champion of the Steel Frame Championship just yesterday. On board now with Rob Morby as we head down into then the chicane, and you've got a decent idea there of what sort of speeds we're going at here in the damp as well, as we now tip into the bottom of the mountain at 60 miles an hour just as they reach that point. Then up, oh, and down he goes. And unfortunately for Rob Morby, he is out of the race. Shame that graphic didn't show and measure altitude, because he just went flying skywards there. Rob Morby, oh, and a twitch there from Carl Foster as well at the start of this race as they now head around into the final corner to start another lap. Carl Foster it is then that just about has the lead, although he's just lost some ground there after that twitch. And Ryan Cooper now pulled down at the slipstream, having a look up the inside of him into turn 1. Then it's Andy Scanlon, who we're on board with now. Andy, who went down earlier on in race 1, he won't want to repeat that one. He needs to finish on the podium. Still some movement that needs to go on in terms of the championship in the top 3. Nick Wainwright, of course, got wiped out earlier on. Up front, there's a change for the lead. Ryan Cooper's gone through up ahead of Carl Foster, and Scanlon looking to find a way through as well. The champion, Chris Helliwell, there in 4th. Sits with me here in the commentary box as we see there number 16, Luke McRae as well. Chris Helliwell got his work cut out here so far in this racing.
Yeah, he got a rubbish start, didn't he? But, you know, the thing is that Chris has raced with us for some time now, and he knows that you've got time. You know, you don't have to do it. It's not a 5-lap dash, is it? You know, you've actually got time to catch up and get to the front in these races.
Yeah, exactly. He has the experience. That's why he's champion. At the front of this race at the moment, it is Cooper that leads, though, from Carl Foster, Scanlon, and then Chris Helliwell, who waits patiently there in 4th. The rest of the field just goes through to the bottom of the mountain. As your champion of the steel frames, Mark Biswell. Oh dear, Mark Biswell's gone down, and he's gone down at a really bad place. Oh, he's right in the middle of the circuit there. He dives for cover to the right-hand side. That could have been really nasty, but the steel frame champion, I bet he's glad he's got that one wrapped up, because he's down and out of this race now. Make their way down through barn corner, the race leaders. And got a bit of work to do here to catch Ryan Cooper. He's being told to hurry up. He's been given his pit board. He got there about 1.5 seconds over Carl Foster, Andy Scanlon and Chris Helliwell. On board now with Helliwell as they make their way around Charlie's. Helliwell now just drops down another gear, ready to wind on the power, get into the slipstream. And now he'll get into the slipstream, and this could work out perfectly. He'll get a double slipstream as well. Can he go from 4th up into 2nd? He brakes, and he does. He's up through ahead of Carl Foster. That was perfectly executed there by the champion of 2016. 2 in 1.
Did you notice how he smoothly wound on the power? He didn't just yank that throttle open, you know, to get a high side possibly. He just wound on nicely. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Good pass, son.
Yeah, I just wonder whether or not Mark Foster there is just saying to Nick Wainwright, you know, go through, because Mark Foster, of course, not playing a part in the championship. Nick Wainwright is. I just wonder whether with a nick there was just being allowed through by Mark, just as if to say, look, you've got a championship to worry about. Here you go, don't worry about me. When I say a championship to worry about, of course, he can't win it, but Nick Wainwright's still in that battle for third place overall, and ultimately someone's going to lose out between Nick Wainwright, Andy Scanlon and Ryan Cooper, and not finish in the top 3 overall. And into the hairpin they go. Now at the front, oh, the gap's come down, hasn't it? Since Helliwell's got up into second place, he's closed the gap down. The top 3 will go through: Cooper, Helliwell and Scanlon. Carl Foster's really dropped away from this leading trio. Further back there, you can see number 65 and number 114. 65, David Langley, leads the steel frames up ahead of John Wright at present. These guys just outside the top 10 overall in the race. And now here he comes. He's been patient. As you said, Sid, experience showing here from Chris Helliwell. He's waited for the race to come to him. And finally, he's able to pounce and retake the lead. He's looking to end the season with yet another win.
His lap times are significantly lower now than like the rest behind him, you know, Ryan, Andy and Nick. It's, you know, he really has got the hang of this bike. And as we've said before, we can't say it enough really, these are, you mentioned it before in race 1, these really are a terrific bike, and a good rider would do really well on these in Sportsman Elite, you know. Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see who challenges Helliwell next year, because whilst it's great to see that he is coming back to defend, he will have a target on his back. People will want to beat him. He will go into next year as the man to try and beat them. There's some championships at Thundersport this year that are going down to the wire, and you can't really call who deserves it, so to speak. Ultimately, of course, the stats don't tell lies. You get the most points, you deserve to win the championship, but there's a couple of cases where you might say, well, it could go either way. There's no doubting this year's champion in the Golden Era Supersport class as they go across the line to complete another lap. He's got a good advantage now over Cooper and Scanlon. There's Nick Wainwright. There's Carl Foster, number 8, and 16, Luke McRae. I can reveal that next year this championship will be even tastier. There are some really good riders coming into this, so you're dead right. Chris Helliwell, although he'll want to do, oh, look what we got here then. A couple of riders here in a bit of trouble. Now let's see if we can, that's Carl Vickers again. Carl Vickers has got himself into some more trouble. Who was with him? Quite sure what has happened there. I think that might have been Ashley Thompson who's gone down with him as well. But yeah, like you were saying, Sid, some good competition coming in for Helliwell. There is indeed. So whilst he is a good rider and he wants to defend the championship, which is very noble, you know, he will have his work cut out, and I for one can't wait to watch it. Second championship sometimes doesn't always mean as much as the first one, because winning your first ever championship means a great deal, but it's so much harder to win than the first. You see it in all walks of life, in all forms of championships at world level. The second championship will be tough for Helliwell, but it's good to see that he's here anyway to defend it. Well, do you know, I sometimes wonder if that's the reason why people move on, and I sometimes think it's braver to stand and defend a championship rather than move up, because it's like nobody questions why you'd move up, allegedly to challenge yourself, etc, etc, but I think it's tougher to defend a championship, Steve. Yep, I wouldn't argue with that as the last lap flag goes out. I mean, of course, next year will be the 10th year of Thundersport GB racing. Indeed. And I tell you what, there are not a long list of riders, probably over one, maybe just two hands of riders that have actually successfully defended their crowns. So you're quite right, it's incredibly brave. Now then, the last lap of a Golden Era Supersport race for any of these guys, and you can see that just to make things a bit more tricky, there's a few spots of rain that have reappeared here on board with Andy Scanlon. It doesn't bother him though. Up he goes into second place. Good move that from Andy Scanlon, trying to make up for what happened earlier. Chris Helliwell has the lead, and you can see there just about the rain actually starting to come down. Well, of course, Andy heavily also has got his eye on the championship for next year. He doth return.
Yeah, he needs a little bit more luck, doesn't he, next year when he returns, but he comes back with even more experience.
And hopefully a fit shoulder.
Well, exactly. Long seasons at Thundersport GB, a lot of races and a lot of points to be won over a weekend. And Chris Helliwell then, with the weather just really not favouring him at the moment, he doesn't want to throw it down the road, so he's just checking to see what the situation is. A twitch there from the rear end as he tips into the mountain. Ryan Cooper, what's happened there? Andy Scanlon must have had a moment as well. So it's all getting a bit twitchy and nervous here on the final lap. You can see there that the wet lines that they're leaving on the dry surface as they make their way through Hall Bend. So nice and easy on the throttle, gentlemen. They will have built up some heat in those tyres anyway throughout the first part of the race, but that is really wet now, going down into the last corner. The checkered flag, luckily, is out. Chris Helliwell has had a dominant 2016, and he ends it with a double win in fine style. Andy Scanlon makes up for the crash from earlier. He takes second ahead of Ryan Cooper, and Nick Wainwright crucially finishes this race. He finishes fourth ahead of Luke McRae and Mark Foster. We will have a look at the championship standings in just a moment. Top three in the Golden Era Supersport then: Chris Helliwell, Andy Scanlon and Ryan Cooper. In the steel frame with no Mark Biswell, it was John Wright the winner. He finished ahead of Ian Evans and Brad Davey. Good to see Ian up there. And in the Golden Era Supersport points, there you can see the dominance from Chris Helliwell this year. 709 points. He was ahead of Nick Wainwright, who does hold on to second. Ryan Cooper has got third, ahead of Andy Scanlon. Biswell, the champion in Golden Era Steelsport, he takes it from David Langley. And Chris Spink, last year's champion, finishing third this time around.
John, a fantastic win there in the Steelsport, and but it was tricky out there, eh?
Some really dodgy conditions out there. Sid, Dave Langley and Mark Biswell unfortunately both went down at the bottom of the mountain, which sort of made it easier work for me really, and we all like to race, but this weekend I've come here for my first Thundersport meeting and I've had a ball, to be honest with you. I think we've had two firsts, a second and a third. This morning was wet, wasn't it, as you know, but yeah, we've had a top weekend and we're looking forward to it next season.
Excellent. And people to thank?
People to thank. Well, I got my main man Lewis here. He's my best supporter, my son Lewis. We've been through thick and thin together. We've had a great season. I think that's the 51st race I've done on the Steely this year. So he put some miles on her. We might give her some treats over winter. My wife has supported me through my racing. This is our second full season of racing, so we're doing well. Support my dad has helped me out. Vinny's Motorcycles in Telford. He's been brilliant building the bike and doing the engines for me. So sponsor-wise, we're self-funded, Sid, so we haven't got too many sponsors to thank, but we're looking forward to meeting a few.
Ryan, back up here for your third place again.
Yeah, I'll take them, especially in conditions like that. They want the best. They were slippy and horrible and whatever else, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it once again. And like I say, it's just been a great year, to be honest. We've had some ups and downs, but the standard of racing in this class is just phenomenal. It's to say these bikes are 16-year-old and how they get around these places, it's just unreal. Like, so yeah, mega happy. I don't know where I've actually come in championship, but I'm not bothered. If I get a ticket for presentation, I'll know I've done well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've done very well. I can't tell you right now, but because I've got all the gear and no idea.
It's two of us.
Yeah. But I'm sure you'll know before you go home anyway. But what about people to thank who helped you along the way?
Yeah, like I say, I've got massive thanks for me Uncle Gary this weekend, and he's actually retired from racing to come and help me for the rest of this season and next season. Like, so we've got new challenges for next year. But massive thanks to all my family. They've come down starting this rain today and supported me, and everybody else on my vest, Race HQ, iFibre, Continental. I think there's a couple on back as well. So yeah, just like to say thanks, and thanks to Thundersport for having me this year once again.
Ryan, while you've been talking now, I've just done the sums in my head, and you have in fact come third, so you will be coming to the presentation. You have cemented third place.
That's just cost me for a new dress for our last then.
Well done, mate.
Cheers. Thanks, Sid.
Well, it's nice to see you up here on the podium, because looks like other than that you'd have had a weekend to forget.
Yeah, it's been one of those weekends. I'll be honest, it's not been bad. I enjoyed it. Yesterday was good. Fastest I've ever been around here when it was dry. Down to 37s, like top 5 bikes doing 37s. Like Chris is just in a different league at the minute. So to do that, I'm over the moon. It's 2 seconds off my best time. I had a really good start to the race this morning. Went a little bit wrong about lap 4, I think. And threw the bike down the road and snapped the frame on it, which wasn't great. So second bike out. I just thought it's the last one, I've got to go for it. There's nothing on the line, I can just go and have fun and we got second, we're happy.
Well, earlier on, you know, Chris said he didn't have much for you because he didn't think he could do anything with you before you crashed it.
Yeah, it's, the amount of people that come over to me and said he had like 10-12 second lead or something. It's like, I think for Christmas I've got to ask for a pit board. Because I didn't know. There was that much standing water on the straights, I couldn't look behind myself because I would have just thrown a bike down the road. So you just play it like there's somebody there and just try and get in a rhythm and go. Just give it a little bit too much, went wrong.
People to thank now.
Yeah, massively my dad. Without him, I wouldn't be here at all. Got Put Line Motorcycles, Headley Body Shop, Perfect Home, so I was looking at the bike. Pete Alton at OTC, he's sorted out with great bikes. Gareth at Reactive Suspension, he's tuning the bikes in beautifully for me. Anybody else which I've probably forgotten, and that who's helped me out, like even Hannah, and I'll try and do that holiday, promise. Still going for it.
Well done, Andy. See you next year.
Yeah, see you next year.
Well done, mate. Skid Marks Halliwell. I seem to spend more time talking to you than I do my wife, for crying out loud, up here on this podium. Well done, mate. Another fantastic win. What can I say?
Yeah, top notch. Very treacherous and tricky. Half wet, half dry. Dries were the right option, and then you got the mental rain halfway through, and you think go, go, go. Then you look behind and he won't shut off. And I'm thinking, when's he shutting off? Please shut off, because I want to shut off. And then it goes on to the last lap and it starts to pour it down, and it's obviously wet race conditions, so it's not going to get red flagged unless somebody hurts. It's, oh well, crashes. I'm thinking, oh, and then it's sideways, lost the front on the last lap, and barn was wet anyway. So it was just, I was a girl, like coming outside. I was glad it's the first ever race. I'm glad we're over. Really am, because it was just like scary at the point. You know what I mean?
Well, there's nothing about that you can call being a girl, to be fair. I mean, you know, you've had all sorts of conditions this weekend, and you know, I mean, that is what is character building as a racer.
Yeah, bad weather, wet this morning, really bad. One of the worst I've ever ridden in, especially with the aquaplaning, and that's just tricky on dries when it's wet. It's just horrible. It feels like you're on jelly. And then you've also had dry yesterday, which we preferred. But now it's been top weekend. Every mixed condition you could ever ask for, and 4 wins. I'm over at moon, to be fair, with a number 1 plate. That means a lot.
That's it for us in 2016. Time to get packing, and we'll see you again bright and early 2017.